Okay, so today I'm going to teach you how to heal Grievous Theater of Pain 18, and since my last two videos were just with comms, this time I'm going to do commentary, and if you guys show me that you enjoy commentaries more than just pure comms, I'm going to keep on doing commentaries. With that being said, I chose to do Fortified, Sanguine, Grievous and Prideful because I'm in the Resto Druid Discord and I've noticed that a lot of people struggle with healing Grievous, and Theater of Pain is a really nasty dungeon. And since I also in the bursting week that just happened, it was kind of weird to just get keys because it was mostly teams, and I know that you guys prefer to see like an actual pack environment where it's just not coordinated at all and it's just a fiesta. But yeah, this pack is very easy. Just make sure you soothe the Bloodhound guy so he doesn't get more than 2 casts off, and focus on healing the tank because he's going to take heavy tank damage. And the group can just be healed with like rejuves because the Grievous doesn't do as much. But yeah, and then once he dies you can feel free to soothe these 2 guys when they go in rage as well. First boss, even on Fortified, first boss can be kind of pain in the ass because if your group just goes like very hard on cleave but doesn't have enough damage to actually afford to do cleave, you're going to struggle with healing the tank because the Desia guy is just going to completely wreck him. But for this boss, the main course of action is just to keep the tank topped up, especially when Desia is alive, and then just layer some hots on the target that gets targeted with the dot, which was me right now. But yeah, try to watch out for tank CDs and then give them back as soon as possible, but don't overlap it because you usually don't need 2 or more CDs. But yeah, you can see I failed in this spell because I had some shenanigans with my focus macro. But yeah, Flourish, just in this boss you can just use Flourish if you have it to just keep the tank alive. And yeah, just make sure the tank is alive. This boss is hard only when Desia is alive, but once Desia dies this fight becomes very easy and it's just about doing some DPS and helping the group push the key faster. And Grievous doesn't really impact this boss too much, it's only that one of the dots is a bit too harder because, yeah, Grievous. Also, Grievous weeks, you need to be very careful with your mana and drinking as much as possible. Like, you definitely should have your food bound to a button so you can basically spam it every time you're not in combat, so your group doesn't have to wait like 10 seconds between each pull for you to drink. But yeah, as said, Desia dies, I'm just going to use the defensive convoke pretty sure, and this boss becomes really a piece of cake. But yeah, I did some hard Theater of Pain keys this week, but it was a lot different because in this pack we do all the hard packs, and those are like 2 or 3 packs that usually challenge the group a lot. And in the team run I did, we skipped like the Arbalest pack with the 5 guys with the captain. And then, yeah, it's just a lot more coordinated. But yeah, I think we do a tyrannical sorry. I think we do a tyrannical route, which includes going to the South Wing first, and then going to 2 packs in Gorchop and finally Kulfarok at the end. But yeah, this pack can be really scary, don't be afraid to use Convoke here. Overall, if you have weeks like these, where it's just Grievous and Sanguine, where it's pretty much your DPS can just do their best and don't have to care about killing everything at the same time like bolstering. Like obviously you still have to do it a bit with Sanguine, but with bolstering it's much more. But again, I'm pretty sure I use Flourish here just to help with the tank healing a bit, just to get it on cooldown, as I know that I'll have it back for Pride. So yeah, Swiftmend. Oh, I even done Swiftmend. I think I saved it. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah, now I Flourish. It's kind of hard for me to it feels just weird to explain like what spells to press, mostly just giving you like what's going through my mind. But yeah, this dungeon I made a lot of mistakes. You can see I'm using Swift not better at all, despite running Soul of the Forest, which is a huge mistake. You should be using Soul of the Forest pretty much off cooldown, that means using Swift not off cooldown. And yeah, now I use it Soul of the Forest and Vow Growth. And you don't have to panic with Grievous hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much, so you are not you don't have to top everyone as soon as possible. Usually if they have 1 or 2 Grievous tags, your HOTS can still top them up, and you don't have to waste mana on just spamming regrowths. That being said, just DPS this boss down, and then we have the next pool, which is another mini boss. I learned after this dungeon that you can actually line of sight the throws or the charges and stuff like that, but I didn't know that. Yeah, you can line of sight, this what the Boomkin tried to do. But yeah, I just top him up, don't want to make bursting because I know that I need some mana for Pride, and I just help DPS to get them up down faster. I'm usually aiming to have at least like 40% mana on these, like 18 Prides. On higher Prides like 21s or even 20s maybe, you usually want to have a lot more mana. But yeah, same thing, just top people up. But this boss luckily doesn't do the mass AoE, unlike the other one, which can be a pain in the ass, especially in the next mini boss. If you get the wrong boss, which you can actually choose which one you get if you play it right, you can choose and have the easiest one. But you can see I'm trying to save all my CDs, and I'm going to do that also for Pride. There are 2 points where I'm trying to hold as much CDs as possible, and like I'm very decided that I'm going to use Convoke defensively. And one of them is this before this pack right here, because we had trees, which made it a bit easier, but without trees it can be really painful, and you usually don't just rely on other people to be good. You have to just tell them, hey guys, please use defensives here because I just can't heal it if you don't. So again, I get invade from the Boomkin, and then sow the forest sense, and just make sure to keep rituals on everyone. I think I even invade myself here after this ends, and again I wait a bit. Again, I didn't. Okay, never mind. Yeah, just try to on this pack try to use as little healing CDs. Like you can see, I'm holding Flourish, and you're going to see that going into this next pack, I'm going to overheal the shit ton of this group just to make sure nobody dies. So you can see I'm pretty sure I'm going to use defensive Convoke when everyone is at full HP, then going to instant Wild Growth and Flourish just to make sure and just spam everyone and just like blast all my cooldowns, because I know like if we don't wipe on this pack and then on 2 more packs, this key is an easy timed key. If obviously we don't wipe to just dump shit, or like not interrupting the kicks on the bone magnesis and stuff like that. But yeah, this pack, as you can see, went pretty. I had like 800k HPS, the healing done, and 9k HPS, and I did tons of auto healing just to make sure that we actually kill it. We luckily got the easiest boss, so I'm not too scared by my mana. And also, as you can see, I'm running a very heal oriented build, as I mentioned earlier, because this week DPS didn't have any affixes to care about, so I was just mostly focused on doing HPS to actually make sure we time the dungeons, instead of just looking at my own numbers and doing like 3k DPS just for the loss of it. But yeah, this again just efflorescence down, give the tank Iron Bark, and yeah, I don't know what much to cover. I would definitely appreciate if you guys or ladies could, if you like this and you got so far, just let me know what kind of stuff you think I should be saying, because it just feels kind of awkward to explain like the complete basics, because I know most of the people that watch me are usually in the hierarchy range, so they know the like basics, just don't know, or just could see some thought process, or maybe in what order I'm using my spells, and then just catching on what I'm saying. Again, Pride, since I have nothing else to talk about, we can talk about how to heal Prides. The general idea is to always have efflorescence down and just tell your people to stand in it. If you have a hunter, he's just not gonna stand in it, like that's a fact. At lower keys, at like 15 to 20, you can usually get by using Convoke offensively, or because sometimes people just not using any CDs. But again, sow the forest into Wild Growth and Flourish. I probably should have held it a bit because I now overheal a lot. But later on, when you get the higher keys, having your regrowth hot on everyone is a big deal, because it increases the crit chance of regrowth by like 40%, which is pretty huge, because then pretty much every single regrowth is going to crit, and it's going to allow you to heal the prides a lot better. This boss, I already talked about it in my how to do more DPS guide. You can do a lot of DPS here because the boss doesn't do almost any raid damage, like group damage. But one thing I would like to say, I actually got surprised. This boss can do the jump 2 times in a row. So now I'm a bit skeptical, and I'm usually just trying to heal people up before each jump, as yeah, it was, obviously I don't have to say that we vibed, because yeah, I was just greedy, didn't top everyone, and then yeah, just get locked. But yeah, same on this boss, you can DPS a lot, especially on fortified, it doesn't hurt that much, and just watch for what cooldowns your tank has for each of the triple combo. If he doesn't have anything, try to just make sure he's stopped and maybe spam reloads into him so he doesn't die from it. And if he has a CD or if you have Iron Bark, if you put that on him, you don't even have to care about him. Like Life Bloom, Efflorescence, and like Rejuvenation are going to take care of everything. Again, just use Flourish pretty much of cooldown. Big mistake that a lot of people do with Flourish is they think it's just for prides or just for group healing, where in reality I think at least like 30% of my Flourish usages are just to get the tank back to full HP or just prepare for a big pull, because if the tank has like Rejuve, Life Bloom, Cenarion Ward and Vow Growth going on him, and I Flourish that, it's an insane healing, and he pretty much is invincible for the 8 seconds Flourish is ticking. So he can do some massive pulls, and it also allows you to do some DPS at the start of the pool, which is what I usually do, that I like Iron Bark at the start of the boss fight, so I can just get my offensive convoke out. Yeah, because we were quite fast, we still have last, so I think we do double pull here. Yeah, I even proposed it, just told him to do a double pull, and we can use last and just blast the packs. But I guess in the end, he didn't decide to do it. I don't know why we had last, but yeah, I guess we are just saving last for the third boss. Not sure why. Anyways, same thing. This thing is overall pretty easy. You just need to make sure, really watch for the Blight / Spears. Do not get the Withering Rod, I think it's called, off, and just you can like interrupt it with Typhoons. Usually try to do the last seconds, because you usually want to have Typhoon as the last possible resort to just make up for the other people failing. But again, Flourish just to like stabilize and have the tank rolling. I think I do offensive convoke, and then yeah. One small tip: if you are like before a tank pool, you can sometimes it's worth using Vow Growth on tank, like purely on tank, just like you can see me do it right now, just for the extra mastery stacks, because if you have like, usually people play with like 10 to 15% mastery. I'm playing with 6, which is kind of sad because of PvP gear. But if you have like 15% mastery, that's 15% more healing from all spells if you just use the Vow Growth, and if you can like actually afford it to cast it, meaning the tank won't die if you cast it instead of regrowth, then it's usually better in the long term. Yeah, you can see we missed the Withering Charge, which can be very, very scary. Luckily it's only an 18, so it doesn't one-shot the group. But yeah, I definitely like noticing, looking back on this, I'm holding my convoke for way too long. I should be using it much more offensively, because there's not much healing in this wing. But I guess my thought process was just saving it in case people mess up. But in the end I just see, okay, nobody ever dies here, so I can just use it offensively. This pool, the DK dies here I think, but in this can be really scary. In the God Chop wing, the only thing that's scary is the big guy, especially if you pull him with the smallies when you go downstairs, because the ticking AoE he is like Pride-like aura, and if he gets that off, it can be really nasty. Not off, I mean like just the ticking damage. Like he has, it's the same thing as in Necrotic Wake, like one of the guys, just the poison cloud around him. I should have definitely just went past and stuff a lot faster and just drank some food or water in the meantime, because I think I'm going to waste some time and just going to have a hard time on the Pride. This Pride is going to be kind of nice. It's going to help with the big guy that we put afterwards. But again, in the end, it's just knowing the dungeon. Like, most of M+ healing is just knowing the dungeon and knowing when to like use Iron Bark and just tracking the tank CDs. One thing, you can make your dungeons a lot easier if you know that there are just pools that you are struggling with like every single dungeon, and it's just nothing is changing. Always just let your people know. Like, you don't have to be like toxic about it afterward. Instead of what you can do is just tell the people, I'm going to do it later on in this dungeon, is just tell them, yeah, as I said earlier, just, hey guys, can you please use all your defensives? Just, if you use everything, it's fine. I just need to heal this pack and it's easy timed. Again, now because we have Pride for the next pack, I think I end up using Flourish for this, and I think I use Offensive Convoke so it dies faster, but I'm actually not sure if I do that. But yeah, so the Forest, Valgrove, I think I should put Efflorescence down. I was waiting for the invade. Yeah, I was waiting for the invade, kind of. Now, I use my own invade, and I'm layering people with regrowths, like I said earlier, that you want to do it for Prides. But yeah, usually even if nobody uses any cooldown, like you can see we still have DK, like they are doing 4k, 3k DPS. The Prides at this level are very easy to heal, as long as people don't get hit by the bursts. I think we could have ended up pulling everything because we had... Yeah, I was kind of just not sure what to do. I was kind of expecting us to pull everything. But yeah, you can see like how much ticking damage this is doing, especially with like Grievous going on. In the end, I still decide to use Convoke offensively, but at this point, like, if I used it defensively, it would still easily time it. We are almost through the dungeon. It's just one more hard pack to go. This pack, you should Vortex it as soon as possible. I do it later, which is obviously bad, but keep an eye on like good Vortex usages, because it can save a lot of time and a lot of hassle for the healing as well. Because yeah, you can see sometimes they're just jumping and they one-shot the DK. And he was also standing in the green circus, which is something your packs will just do. You just have to play around it and just be like, you just can't lose your cool. Like, it's the same with any other game. You just have to stay positive. When you get tilted, it's just doomed, and you're just going to make mistakes, even though you don't think you're making mistakes. And it's just a fiesta. This boss is pretty scary, even on Fortified. On Tyrannical, double that, because the ads that are jumping can be a real pain in the ass. But yeah, just trying to keep the tank up. I think I use Foolish, I'm not sure actually. But I'm just helping DPS in the meantime. Not a big deal. Getting ready. I have enough mana for the second boss. I have my cooldown, so it should be fine. And yeah, after this, I would highlight, I'm going to talk about the route, and what I would recommend doing instead of this is what I've been doing recently, and I think is a lot better, is if you go to Kurfarak first and you farm some percentage there, you skip the hard pools and mostly farm a lot of percentage on the platforms where normally you just skip everything. We like pull the Bone Magnuses to not have to kill the Arbalists we did earlier in the Zav wing. I can see he used this shield, so I'm not like panicking too much. Never mind, I used Foolish, no reason why. But they're just helping DPS, I don't know why. Yeah, this was 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I improved a lot since then and just learned the dungeons. And like Mythic Plus is just about knowing the dungeons. And you can see this boss, it's for the fight, and it's almost killing, like the jumping of the small mobs is almost killing the whole group, which is kind of scary. So I guess saving last was the right play, because we didn't need to save any time by pulling the 2 packs earlier. Again, scenario involved. Also this week, on heavy healing weeks, as I said earlier, I would recommend just optimizing for healing. You can see I'm even running like Unbound Changeling, and I changed it to Mastery, because I just knew like if we are depleting any dungeons, there's no way it's because we are depleting at the time, it's always because I just couldn't heal something. Because DPS can just do so much damage this week, as they don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, we end up killing this boss, and then we have just Kulfarak to go. Kulfarak can be really scary, especially on Tyrannical. On Fortified it's still kind of scary. And yeah, this next pull, when this was kind of, I guess, normal when I did lower keys, but when I did this 18, I just realized how fucking impossible this next pull is, because the souls hurt so much. And the thing with this is you use like almost every single cooldown for these first 6 souls. Yeah, like you can see what I said earlier, I'm just telling everyone to use health pots and defensives, because I know that this is one of the health packs. And then the tank was just, I don't know what the tank was doing, to be fair. He just took so long to get them up. I think I use Convoke, Healing Convoke, and Foolish right after, just to make sure he doesn't die. But I guess I don't, I save it? Yeah, no I don't, I do. So yeah, again you can see me doing some pretty decent HPS. But yeah, as I said, I blow pretty much every single cooldown on this pack, and then we do the same thing. And pretty much everyone blows every single CD on this first pool. So the problem is, when we do this next pool, and another 6, we don't have Combust, we don't have Trees, we don't have any cooldowns. So you're going to see that we are just going to mass vibe and lose like 4 people to this, which is very suboptimal. Luckily Potender saves me, and we managed to at least clear the pack instead of just pure viping and having to do it again. But then you can see like just how much everyone is taking damage. And yeah, like Boom can use this Barskin at the last second. Mage doesn't bother to use like even Ice Block, not even out of time. So like your normal stuff you can expect in packs. I decided to combo this because yeah, I just knew that we need to get through this pack, and I didn't want to risk it. Boomy also used Barskin like 50 seconds later when I needed it, but that's fine I guess. Again, we clear this pack. This mob is pretty much just a weaker Pride, nothing to worry about. Just treat it like it's a Pride, just pre-hot everyone. Or treat it like it's the mask in... Treat it like it's the mask in the other side. So I just try to heal up everyone. I see that I still have Frenzy Vision, so I decided to not heal myself and prioritize the DK and the Druid. We have Pride for this, we have Pride coming, so I normally would just DPS or heal Convoke the Pride, but I know that I need to save the Convoke. I absolutely have to save the Convoke. This is the second of the pools where you just want to make sure you have every single cooldown you can have, and that being Convoke, Flourish and Tranquility. And I used Flourish earlier, like pretty early into the Pride, so I can have it back. I have it a bit later, but I should have, it's fine, it ended up working out. But as you can see, I'm just trying my best to avoid using Tranquility or Convoke on this Pride. Now, on 45 weeks, it's definitely better to go into the pack with 2 Magnuses. It's a lot less hero friendly because the Shackled Souls, as you could see, like absolutely wrecked us. And this is just about interrupting, and especially because we can spell steal one of the shields and dispel the second one, so they die relatively fast. Again, what I said earlier, I'm trying to hold my Typhoon as much as possible. I used it just to, I'm just trying to hold it to make sure we don't miss any interrupts. I'm really happy that we have Pride going into this next pool. This is the pool I was talking about, and again you can see Barskin IBF just telling everyone to use everything they have to survive this, and also make sure to kick like the Soulbinder Magnus. You can see pre-hotting, like going to blast Convoke pretty soon. And you can see I'm really lucky with the Flourish from the Convoke here, and instant Tranquility. And you can see I'm doing like 10k HPS on this pool. Again, overhealing loads of it, but it's fine. Like, when we kill this pool, I just knew, okay, this is easy timed. Like, there's nothing else that can deplete the key. Unless we just don't kick buttons. Like, the way it went this far, it was just guaranteed that if I just heal this pool, we're going to be just fine. Yep. When you click on the portals, it instantly heals you, so the DK did a nice job of clicking it, because I think maybe he would have died from the dot. And yeah, this pack, you can pretty much just DPS, it does nothing. Just, yeah, I guess the Boomkin took aggro. But yeah, just DPS, keep the hot stabbing on the tank. Nothing, no group damage whatsoever on this pool. So, yeah. Yeah, so just DPS, again, try to save some cooldowns. The next pack can also be a bit scary, but generally not even close to what the previous pack was, like the Soulbinder, Bone Spear, and that, because the AoE damage coming from the big ghost, I guess, is much scarier than just the front to this Dark Speaker does. Again, I think I Vortex and I'm ready with Typhoon. Yeah, you can see. I think we luckily interrupted the Bone Magnus, and I think, yeah, we didn't have combat res. I don't know why we didn't have combat res, but yeah, we didn't lose combat res. So I just told the Boomkin to rest fast because we are going to have Pride after we kill this pack. I think I even used Convoke defensively because we are just, for heal for people. And once this Soulbinder is dead, I think we just delay the Dark Speaker a bit. And then it's pretty free. And we even have Last for this or the last boss, not sure which one we use it on in the end. But yeah, Soulbinder dies, and that being all the trash over. Again, Mage for some reason. Yeah, this was kind of funny. I was looking where the Boomkin is, I couldn't see him on the map. But yeah, Mage doesn't use auto time, nothing new, just can't expect them to use auto time at all. Luckily, DK uses IBF, so that helps me recover a bit. Okay, yeah, I tell everyone to stay here because sometimes people try to like snap the Pride onto the top platform. So I just make sure nobody actually click it, so we actually can 5-man the Pride and don't have to do some 4-man stuff. And the Monk almost obviously snaps it, so what can you do? It's a pack. So I think, yeah, I just helped DPS a bit, because yeah, from the experience, like the past 4 Prides just died so fast, I didn't need to do much healing. And yeah, innovate myself. I again don't know why I'm not swift-mending the Valgroves. I'm just kind of sleeping on the swift-mends, like, I'm not going to lie. I guess my thought process was kind of saving it to heal up Grievous faster, but it doesn't make too much sense. I also overheal with Tranquility, just because I knew that I don't need, like, Tranquility is pretty useless on the next boss, as you need just heavy single target burst healing instead of like AoE healing. But yeah, now let's talk about the next boss and then the last boss. This next boss, usually you want to dispel. I usually try to dispel myself, because it's pretty scary to have to heal yourself. I don't know, it just feels really weird, so I always try to dispel myself as a priority, and then save my bark for if the Boomy gets it. So I save, yeah, and if the tank gets it, always dispel the other target, not the tank. Because even though he's taking still a lot of damage, it's not as big of a threat, like he can't die. Especially because he has so much defensive, he can't really use elsewhere. As the boss, other than that, is just doing melee attacks. Again, just keep the tank hotted up, and I think I pre-rejuve. Like, Mage blocked, which is really good. allowed me some deep breathing room, especially as this boss is going to die pretty soon, so he didn't need to save it. I'm actually lagging right now in my brain. Anyways, invade, because why not? Just pre-hot everyone. This boss with Grievous can be really scary. You can see, this time it was an exception. I used Barskin, so I didn't need to dispel myself. And you also used Flourish, just to heal one target, as I said earlier, that it's a viable thing you can do. But this fight now like slowed down a bit, so that got a little bit scary. I don't think I barked the tank here. I just put all hots on him and saved the bark for the target I can't dispel. Especially it's going to be bad overlap. So I dispel and I bark the tank. I don't know why I didn't dispel, I think it was, I don't know, I just brain lagged. But yeah, also I should have Effervescence down for sure, just for the mastery stack. Big misplay from me. Just doing my best to top the Boomy, he has Grievous stacks. And yeah, now all that remains is we have like 6 minutes for the last boss, which is pretty easy, just need to focus on actually not dying. And yeah, in the end I think I finished with like 6k HPS overall, which is a pretty insane comparison, because like on normal weeks you end up with like 4k or 3k even on those keys. And yeah, I even say like played safe, we have a lot of time, but only one less. So, Mod Refra. I guess that's not too much to talk about on Fortified, brain lag, on Fortified, but I can talk about a bit like how the boss works. And the main scary thing of this boss is really just the overlap with the pool and the ghosts, because that's some quite AoE damage, and then you also need to make sure you need to watch for the Reaping Scythe, and make sure the tank has a defensives for each. You can see I'm already pre-regrowing him because I know the side was coming, but I guess he just used a defensive. I wasn't tracking at the time. Like right now I'm tracking the like full HP shield, but I wasn't. Again, 1 second, I bark him, I think. Yes, I bark him. So he doesn't, yeah, so I can recover a bit. And we are saving lost for 50%. Again, Scythe in 5 seconds. I'm trying to just keep him up, and I think I even do offensive convoke. Yeah, saved my. Then yeah, I know that the Scythe is going to come right after this beam, and he's just going to get slapped. Again, used shield. This tank was pretty good, luckily, unlike the other people, as much. Again, I think I roar. You can always roar to help get away from it. Never mind, I don't. I'm lying. I see that 50% is coming, so I'm preparing and pre-hotting people as much as possible, and I'm going to flourish once the hit. Yeah, I'm flourish right now. No, normally I would pre-hot people and just flourish, but yeah, I guess I just defensive convoke because we just had 3 minutes, and I just wanted to make sure I save as many CDs as possible to actually kill the boss. This can be kind of. Sometimes the overlap can get really weird if you're in a bad position and the devastation is aimed at you, but you also have to dodge the ghouls. Here, this was kind of my fault. I got greedy with my tranquility and underestimated the range, wanted to get the tick off and just got stunned. Caught for dispel, luckily got dispelled, which, yeah, at least those 2 seconds could have made the difference. Especially as I had enough time to actually barskin the tank. And yeah, that's it. If you guys enjoyed it, and if you got this far, please let me know if you would like to see more commentaries and also some tips on what I could talk about. And cheers!